Hello everybody, my name is George Sargent. I work for Reuters at TV news agency side of things. So just to give you a bit of background, I'll start my stopwatch here so I don't run over. I'm a social media producer, so basically when something happens, you know, there's an explosion or a protest or something like that, it's my job to find eyewitnesses and verify and get permission to use their videos and photos so we can put it out to our clients, who include, you know, BFM and others around the world. So I'm going to be talking today about verification of videos and photographs in breaking news events. Just to warn you, this first photo is a bit distressing, but hopefully it kind of demonstrates what we're getting at here. So this is the Brussels bombings. This is kind of an indication of when the Brussels bombings happened. Sky News were in fact there with a camera crew and a producer, reporter. They were there, they were sending in rushes, but all they had was people being evacuated. It was the people, the eyewitnesses, the people on the ground who were actually capturing the most engaging moments and the most important, significant. And when you look at the Paris attacks and you look at Brussels and you look at any other kind of huge moment of the past 2 years, it's been the eyewitness stuff which has been the most definitive. And this is an example actually captured by a Georgian journalist. So these are the kind of the four standards of when you're doing social media verification. You have to find out who captured it, when they captured it, where they captured it, and why they captured it. That's very important to know what their agenda might be. These are the things you have to consider. So as we were talking about earlier with fake news and how important that has been, or not, as some people might say. But this is an example of, this is a Tea Partier, a YouTube account which shared this video, said to show ballot stuffing in Pennsylvania. 500,000 views on this. And of course it turned out in the end it was taken from a BBC report from a web streams of voting fraud in Russia in September, the parliamentary elections. So there's more and more, as we were discussing earlier, there's more and more of this fake news around, and it's incredible how quickly there might be an explosion inside a subway, and then people will post old footage and put it online and change the date or crop out the date. They're constantly trying to catch us out as journalists and to make us look silly. So that's why we always have to be doubly sure, because there are more and more people out there who are trying to create this kind of fake news. In the interest of balance, the chairwoman of Russia's Central Election Commission says that there was some evidence of vote rigging, but it was not on a concrete, no evidence of it being on a large scale. So this is an example of a video which was shared very widely, said to show a helicopter being shot down in Ukraine, and quite a few media outlets actually put this out and said that it was a video of that. So I'm just going to play it. It's about 45 seconds, and just see what you think about this video. What about the video would make you think that possibly it could be not the real deal? So what kind of warning signs do we have there? So that video, the strange aspect ratio, it's hard to see on a black screen, but there's black all around the video. And people, when videos are copied, often they lose their aspect ratio. They look stretched or they look squished or whatever. It's because people are downloading it and re-uploading it, downloading it, re-uploading it, ripping it, changing it. The very poor quality, so the pictorial quality was very poor. It's you'd be amazed how many rebel groups in Syria or Ukraine or wherever are actually posting 1080 HD footage online. So if it is poor quality, there's a likelihood it could have been copied. Distorted audio. So yeah, you could hear some sort of looping in the audio there. They've actually edited the audio and looped it. And if there's strange qualities to the audio or lip sync qualities, then that's also a sign that it could have been copied. Improbable language. So this was shared on YouTube as, helicopter shot down in Kramatorsk, Ukraine, all in English. And if people are on the ground in Ukraine, close enough to the battle site, that you'd think that they would be sharing in Russian or Ukrainian. So if you are looking for verified material, always search in the local language. It's always very important. And what also people do is they paste paragraphs of articles underneath videos to use keywords to get as many hits as possible. So if you do see a large 3 or 4 well-written paragraphs underneath a brand new video, then you have to be suspicious. And looking at the history of the user, this is really important. So if you find a YouTube video, you think it's good and you want to use it on your site or whatever, go to the YouTube user and see what kind of videos they share. Do they normally share from that kind of area of Ukraine? Why do they have videos from Russia? Why do they have videos from India in different languages, different aspect ratios? These are all kind of warning signs. And user instinct. So if you're watching that video, you put yourself in the scenario, you see this helicopter coming down. Do you really think people would be shooting down a helicopter and then just not saying anything, just quietly watching it come down? I think you'd be talking excitedly on your walkie-talkies, or you'd be speaking to people next to you. It would be quite something. So again, user instincts, and share this content with your colleagues, because often your colleague will see something that you won't. So this is the original. Before we get to that, we put this video into the Amnesty International tool, which you may be aware of. It's not foolproof, but it is very very useful. So you take the YouTube link, it only works with YouTube. And you put it into the YouTube data viewer, and then you click reverse image search on these 4 photos, and then it will search the internet for any place that those thumbnails have appeared before. And it will give you a long list of places. And then what we did is we discovered that video was not, in fact, Ukraine. It was 2 years before and was Syria. Cuts out the rebels.
محافظ حلب نتصدى الطيران الحربي الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
You get the idea there. Google reverse image search. So with images, this was something sent to us saying, we've heard that Banksy has been arrested. Can you please look into it? Only takes about 5 seconds. You right click on the image, search Google with this image, or you can download the TinEye Chrome extension, and then it reveals that it's actually a photo taken after the Notting Hill Carnival, someone being arrested. So this kind of stuff is huge, and it did happen with the US election. Large crowds being, this is us, people waiting for the Trump to speak at this stadium. The photo turns out to be a celebration of someone winning the NBA championships. So it is very widespread. So it's good to be aware of that. Also, if you can get someone to send you an image, you can put it through this. This is a Jeffrey's image metadata viewer. And when you take a photo on your phone or in your camera, often invisible data is imprinted on that image, which you can extract using this. And it will tell you what kind of device it was used, the exposure, if there was a flash, and crucially the date, and sometimes the location if they have their geo-coordinates turned on. You can fake this. You can manually change your settings on your phone or camera, but it's more evidence to help you try and verify photos. So verifying a user. So when you're verifying a user, you're very much kind of putting together a picture of the user. You're trying to, like a puzzle, you use different kind of bits of evidence to try and gain more confidence in the user. If you can't put those things together, you simply don't use it. So is it the first version of the video uploaded? Seems obvious. Search for the keywords on YouTube, filter by upload date, find the first. Do the same on Twitter, Instagram, find the very first video. the highest quality. So yes, if it's a 1080 version, and then you've got someone which has an SD version, a 480 or 240 version, and they say they own the original, it's probably not the case, because the HD version is the best quality. What's the user history? Again, look at what kind of videos they share. Look at their Twitter. Who do they tweet to? What do they tweet about? Do they tweet other people's content? Do they have a habit of taking other people's content and re-uploading it as a Twitter video just to get more hits? Look at the comments. Often someone will say, this is fake and this is why, and they'll do your work for you. So always look at the comments when people are sharing contentious videos or photos. What language do they post in? Again, always search in the local language. And if they're sharing in a different language, you have to be suspicious. What's their username? So like Hot News 99, Breaking News is unlikely to be the source of your video or photo. And do they have a photograph? So often you can reverse image search someone's photo in their Twitter, and it will take you to their Facebook or their LinkedIn or wherever else, and you can see, where does it say they on Facebook they live. If the plane came down in Norwich and it says they live in Norwich in England, it's another factor that might help you think they're likely to be the source. And yeah, like I say, put their name into other social media profiles, try and find out as much detail as you can about them. And can we speak to them? So there was an explosion in a mosque in Saudi Arabia relatively recently. Found the earliest version on YouTube, reached out to them, got their phone number. One of my Arabic-speaking colleagues called them up and asked their account of what happened, and it matched exactly the account that we knew to have happened in the mosque. He sent us the HD version. We moved the video. Instagram videos. This is me shamelessly showing my Instagram photo, the only one I actually took which is any good. If you take the Instagram link and you put it into Facebook, you don't have to post it, but you can see there at the bottom it says the exact date and time that it was taken. So that, again, you want to find the earliest version on Instagram. So this is a helpful way to do it. I've got 3 minutes left, so I'm going to go through my geolocation here. So geolocation is verifying the location of a video or photo from landmarks you can notifiably identify. You can use Google Maps, and there's a photo element there, which I'm hoping they'll expand. Google Street View, as hopefully you'll be aware of. Google Earth, which has more capability. Bing Maps, which often has better, more crisp photos than Google Maps, but not always. Yandex Maps is another form of maps, mainly kind of Eastern Europe. They actually have a Street View version as well, which Google hasn't reached all the parts of Eastern Europe, so Yandex Maps sometimes has. This is slightly kind of next level, Wolfram Alpha. If you have a video of a massacre said to be in Idlib and it's snowing, you can go on Wolfram Alpha and see what the weather was like at night in Idlib at that time. And if it's not snowing, then you can't use the video. And this is another layer, SunCalc. You can actually find a location, pinpoint a location, and see where the shadow should be at that time of day and compare it to the video. So this is said to be Russian helicopters operating in northern Hama in October 2015 in Syria. This was before the Russians had said they were involved themselves at all. So I'm just going to play 20 seconds of this. Okay, so underneath the YouTube video, it says that it was shot in a place called Morek. You put it in Arabic and Google Translate, you look at it in English, and then you Google Morek, and you find this place north of Hama. In the video, you'll remember there are two kind of big hills in the background, so looking for two big hills on the map, scanning around looking for it, find these two hills. I used a site called Panoramio, which early November closed down, which is a real shame, but apparently Google Photos is going to have some of its capability. But using that, I found a photo of our two hills. And if we zoom in, we can see that it has like a lump and then a dip and then another lump and a telegraph mast at the top, which we can also see in our video. But one is on the left in our photo and one is on the right in our video. So we have to go through the hills and turn around because the photo was taken from the wrong side of the hills. So we have to go in Google Earth and press the terrain button. If you press the terrain button, the terrain comes out of the ground and you can compare that to the video. And if you take photos of the video, you can actually compare it to Google Earth. And then you can establish that it was taken in Hama. So instead of saying said to be Hama in Syria, you can say shot in Hama, Idlib, because you can prove it through looking at Google Earth. Just finishing up, how do we know it's a Russian helicopter? Well, we don't. So we send photos to an expert. You don't have to read all this, but this is Joseph Dempsey at the International Institute of Strategic Studies, who says that the Syrians are not known to have a helicopter with machine guns on the side. They're only known to have ones with machine guns on the front. So he deduces that this is likely to be a Russian helicopter. So what we can say is it is Hama, and an expert says it's likely to be a Russian helicopter, and then we can put it out to clients. So this is an example of kind of verification that you can do to prove the veracity of certain objects. And in summary, use the tools available: reverse image search, YouTube Amnesty Viewer, look at everything you can online, find the earliest and highest quality version of the video or photo you can. Look at the defining characteristics of the uploader. Like I say, you're looking at where do they say they live, what kind of content do they post. Get a really good idea of the poster before you put it up on your site or you put it out to your readers or viewers. Speak to them. Always, you've got to reach out to them and speak to them. And if you do have concerns, it's always good to speak to them on the phone, because if they say, yeah, I'm at the scene right now, and then you call them up and you say, how's it going? And they say, yeah, where are you? I'm at home. You said you were at the scene. I can't hear any road noise. So it's always important if you have any doubts to go the extra mile and be cautious, because it's very embarrassing if you get it wrong. And the last thing is to trust your instincts. Share it with your colleagues, trust your instincts, and trying to use the tools and your own common sense to verify material. So I think that is it. Now I've got time for some questions if anyone has any. I can talk about anything you like, really.
I'm just curious how much time you have to do all this work, because I imagine it's a very quick cycle. So can you talk a little bit about timing and using these tools?
Yeah, it can take the geolocation stuff is quite rare. Sometimes it can be quite quick. I think there was somebody in, I think it was Brooklyn. It was an imam, I think, who was killed on the streets, and there was CCTV footage of him being shot in the back of the head. And we heard that he was coming home after going to a certain mosque. That wasn't too difficult, because you just go on Google Maps, you look for the mosque, and you could see a flyover. You find the flyover near the mosque, and then you could find the house. But this Syria one took me probably 3 hours to do. But it was important because it was the first evidence of Russian helicopters in Syria. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes, especially at someone like Royce's, where you've got clients calling up on the phone and saying, have you got this? Have you got this? Have you verified this? It is very difficult. So you do have to get it out quickly. But it's worth spending a little bit more extra time on it, because clients, they can just put it out if they wanted to, because they've already seen it. But what they rely on you is to do the verification. And so you have to be right, because of the credibility of the of Reuters is on the line. So you have to spend time. If your editor is pushing you and saying we need this, you have to say to them, I'm not happy putting this out yet. You have to be quite certain about that.
Hi.
Okay, thank you. I'm from the European Journalism Observatory. That was really interesting, thank you. I just wondered what sort of proportion of material you get now is found to be unverifiable or fake, and also whether it's increasing, if you've noticed an increase.
Well, fake, it's very rare. I'm just trying to think if there was one. I don't think, touch wood, since I've been there has been a case where we have used social media content that turned out to be fake, which is actually remarkable now I think about it. But I think it's probably because we're very, very cautious, because we have to be very cautious. And like I say, the credibility is on the line. But I think that it is definitely more and more, definitely. I think you've seen it, fake news is coming up and up. A lot of the fake news that you'll see, like that YouTube video, it's quite easy to find that as fake because you can put it through that tool. But people are much more clever now, where they, like I say, they will crop videos, or they will tweet a portion of a video. It's definitely an increasing problem, and if they can make money out of it, I think it will become much bigger as we go along.
Hi there, Doug Herbert from France 24. When you do expose a video as fake at Reuters, what is your practice for, are you transparent with your readers? Is there any process through which we can then find out how you actually revealed this as a fake, or is it just not published and that's the only way we'll ever know? And if it's already out there circulating, do you make any effort to make it known to people who may have seen it in some other forum, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or whatnot? Beware this video, we have investigated it, and for reason A, B, and C, it's a fake. And I have a quick follow-up.
It's a good question. I mean, there are kind of two ways that we talk to clients. So one way is to just feed them video and stories, and that is very much a one-way thing. There's no kind of big email list that we can put out to get a message out there, because there's so many. But what we do is we have a help desk on TV where people call, 24-hour help desk, people call up all the time and speak to someone at Reuters. And in the past, if we know something is fake, we will tell them and make sure that everybody who's called about that story knows about this video and knows that it's fake.
And do you, there was a question about, it's a labor-intensive process, obviously, rooting all of this stuff out. You're a big organization, you have the resources. Do you ever outsource, though, these tasks to some other, I don't know, I saw that, you sent the helicopter video to an expert on helicopters, but the photo forensics and whatnot, do you have clearinghouses you go by, or someone else's word you sometimes trust as a best second opinion?
Not really. I think I'll go online and look at what other sites have done, and I think there's a Storyful collaborative newsroom that they use. I know that Snopes we've used in the past, and Bellingcat do certain research. They all kind of inform into our journalists, but there's no kind of official relationship that we have with people to verify this stuff. A lot of it is kind of put out there publicly on the internet, and we can use it, but we would always make sure that we did all the checks ourselves and not take anything on its word.
Yeah. I mean, my question is, do you think that in some parts of the world it's easier to verify video or photograph than other parts in the world?
Yeah, I think so. Certain parts of the world, it's an increasing problem with chat apps. So some parts of the world where they have low internet capability, they don't want to sit there for an hour and a half uploading a YouTube video, so they will just publish in WhatsApp. So I think Yemen and Israel has good internet, but they do use WhatsApp a lot. Africa uses WhatsApp. So it is very difficult to verify stuff from those areas if it has originated on WhatsApp. You have to literally go and follow the chain and find the original uploader. Sometimes in Syria, it's more easy in some respects, because you've got rebel groups and you've got activist groups who are so established now. The war has been going on such a long time, and they're so efficient at uploading material and they will actually tell you the day and the location. You can speak to them. They are very contactable, and you can try and verify that with other reports of what's happened there. So in some respects, Syria is easier. And with America, Instagram is massive there, and because I think that's quite good, because you can direct message people on Instagram there without them having to follow you. So that's just much easier to get there. So it does definitely depend on the country. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks very much.